Anywho, we're about ready to go. I'm ready when you are, Sam.
Excellent. Let me know.
Yep.
Where do we start, guys? Maybe talk me through how you got into the climate movement.
Well, for both of us, really, me in particular, it was 2019, on the back of the election. The coalition got back in, everyone said they weren't, and it was around the same time that all this really heavy news came through about the Arctic, and the Arctic was melting at a rate they didn't expect for another 70 years, or 70 or 90 years. It was really alarming, and I was looking for something to do. I was in a state of despair, basically, and Extinction Rebellion was on the rise, and after volunteering for the Greens in that election, Extinction Rebellion was the next logical step for me.
So how about you, Mark?
I was driving around the country and I noticed how dry it was. It was during the drought, really concerned about our food bowl being really arid. And then, Extinction Rebellion came along around the same time, Menindee Lakes and those upturned fish. And so I went along to the talk, and I just found out that the livability of our planet is at stake, and our governments were utterly failing in their duty of care, and the power of protest and people to make change.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay.
Just stop us now if you think the rain's going to be a problem.
Yeah, let's just push on.
Yeah, cool.
You got just keep rising now.
Do you think there has been a rise in people turning out to protest over the past couple of years?
I do think there has been a rise in people turning out to protest, and I think what we're seeing now is the world's most well-documented genocide. We're seeing the rise of fascism, and we're seeing climate and ecological breakdown, and I think people are responding to that. And I think there's a question around people saying, why are people turning out to protest? It's more like, why aren't more people turning out to protest? I mean, we're literally seeing everything around us breaking down.
Do you think it's because also people are so disillusioned with the major political parties, perhaps?
Yeah, I do.
Our electoral system is completely broken. I mean, politicians lie to get elected. They have massive funding from people like Rupert Murdoch, who has investment in fossil fuel industries and in armaments. And so, you know, we have this situation where people cannot choose the right person, and when they think they're choosing the right person, that person, once they're elected, turns around and does completely opposite things to their promises. So we're stuck in a place where people feel like they have to take the situation into their own hands and do more than just vote.
And do you see people from all walks of life coming to these rallies?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of young people on the streets, but I can't think of a demographic that's not represented in the street movement right now, and it's really encouraging to see.
Yeah, it was really interesting. When we were in the climate movement, most people were academics, but since the rise of fascism and the genocide, it really has reached every person through watching this happen in real time on their social media.
Tell us about the Westgate last year.
So last year, Violet, myself and another friend of ours whose matter's still before the court, so we don't want to talk about them too much, we did what's called a truck jump on the Westgate. So we blocked 3 lanes of the Westgate, hopped on board on the roof of the truck and dropped a big banner saying, declare a climate emergency, which is asking the government to acknowledge the reality of the situation we're in. And we did 2 months in jail for that. But it should be noted we had a considerable criminal record leading up to that. It wasn't our first big action. We're both on court orders in different states at that time, and but we knew going into that action that was a possibility, and that was the price we were willing to pay because we wanted to get the message out.
And no regrets?
No regrets. No.
What was that like, going to jail for the first time?
There's no way to get around it. Jail's scary. Yeah? The first time you get walked into the yard by one of the screws is pretty scary, especially it's such a toxic system that everyone starts out in maximum security regardless of what you've done. It's just a major flaw in that system. So you get marched into maximum security, and it's like one of those scenes in the movies. It's very intimidating, but you get on with it. You got no other choice but to get on with it, and you do what you need to do while you're in there.
And what's that like, that first night after they shut the door and they leave you in there? And what goes through your head?
What goes through your head is thinking about all the people that you love the most and missing them, especially missing each other.
Yeah.
And that's why that night was the night that I wrote a letter to Brad proposing to him.
Yeah.
And Brad, how many times have you been arrested?
I've been arrested, I think it's 17 or 18 times. Fair to say, I'm the underachiever of the family. Violet,
What am I, I'm 41 now?
40 I think it
40?
was.
Yeah.
40 arrests.
Just had my 40th in Tasmania. Yeah, defending the forest.
Have you had the wedding yet, or is that still the case?
Yeah, we got married in November. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
What happens from here? So, are these causes that you're going to keep fighting for? You may be arrested again for?
Yeah, we've committed our life to this struggle, basically for peace, justice and a livable planet. What the science is telling us around climate and ecological breakdown is things are just going to deteriorate from here. And if climate and ecology breaks down, then society breaks down. And we're going to see more genocides, more wars, more conflicts, people fighting over ever diminishing resources. So, in a lot of ways, what we're seeing in Gaza is just a symptom of that. And the Middle East will be the first to cook in a heating world. So, yeah, we've very much dedicated our lives to, and at great sacrifice, personal sacrifice.
Yeah, we don't want to be criminalised for protesting. We just want a livable planet. We want peace, justice, and a livable planet. And yeah, we don't want to be criminalised. But if that's what it takes to bring about a better world, and we are convinced that that's what it's going to take, then we're prepared to be arrested and we're prepared to go to prison again.
Do you think that's the only way to get your message across, those huge disruptive tactics that we've been seeing in the past couple of years?
Well, protesting is an ecosystem. It takes very vibrant protest, it takes mass protest, it takes disruptive protest, it takes petitions. Not that that's my wheelhouse, but it takes everything. It takes people lobbying. We need a diversity of tactics to make this work. So yes, we need disruption, and I say we need destruction a little bit as well. I think that protest that is shocking and breaks through is really what's going to make some change.
And I'll just say that's what you need to do to get the attention of the media and of the politicians. And if people have got a better way to do it, if they can show us a more effective way to do it, then please show us, and we'll gladly pursue that avenue, because we've done the research, we've read the history, and we know that you need disruption, you need sacrifice, and you need escalation. They're the three keys.
And they're not liked at the time. I mean, at the time that Martin Luther King was murdered, he was at his least popular ever in history. But now when we look back at Martin Luther King's legacy, we consider him a hero. And so, yeah, and the same with the suffragettes. I mean, you look at the suffragettes cartoons and they're like, demonizing them in the media, but then we look back and we say, gosh, thank goodness those women were so brave, and now we have the vote. Not that it really does anything for us now, does it? but protest is always validated throughout history.
A lot of people that say that shutting down a major road, forcing a woman to give birth on the side of the road, that's only going to turn people off your cause.
There are. What happened with the woman giving birth was very unfortunate, and we regret that. And we were in custody at the time when we saw that news, and that was pretty devastating. But looking back on that, there were hospitals on the other side of the bridge too, and we'd very carefully planned the action to make sure that we weren't blocking access to hospitals. So, that's unfortunate, but this is what we've got to do. And there's research. There's a meta study from Yale University that says that disruptive climate protests do increase concerns around climate and do increase people's willingness to get involved with the climate movement. Really solid research.
And where's the outrage about all of the disrupted roads with the floods and the fires? You know who should be paying, who should be criminalised? The fossil fuel industries, who are causing the breakdown of the livability of our planet. If you're concerned about one woman, be concerned about all of us.
For example, at Land Forces, we saw police horses punched, urine thrown at police officers. What do you make of that sort of behaviour at protests?
Well, we were both at Land Forces, and I can tell you 100% the police were the first to escalate. There's no doubt about that.
They battened me in the ribs when I was just trying to help an old man up. So many people, even our medics, pepper sprayed. I think what happened at Land Forces was devastating for all of us. And what was most devastating was the violence coming from the police.
Yeah, the police were the first to escalate, and a tiny fraction of the protesters might have responded in a way that the public wouldn't find acceptable. But
These were kids.
yeah,
There were kids in that group. What you expect kids to have more discipline than police? They should have been the one de-escalating that situation, not firing rubber bullets at under 18-year-olds.
yeah.
Tell us about the Sydney Harbour Bridge.
Sydney Harbour Bridge was a protest that I engaged with Fireproof Australia, which was trying to get our firefighters the tools they need to keep us safe during the bushfire season. We blocked one lane of traffic and some would say caused no disruption at all. And yet I was sentenced to 15 months in prison, but that was overturned on appeal.
And this weekend they're planning to go back to the bridge.
Yeah, I wish we could make it. I would love to walk over that bridge again. I know that shortly after I was sentenced to prison, I think the Pride marched over the Harbour Bridge, and there was a guy holding a sign that said, "We are all Violet Coco." So hopefully someone gives us a thought when crossing that bridge.
And they did shut it down for a day for a film shoot as well.
Oh
So-
yeah.
So if there's a commercial interest, that's okay.
shut it down
But if
the whole day.
if you're trying to get the firefighters the equipment they need, or if you're trying to draw attention to the climate and ecological breakdown, and you block it for 25 minutes, you're apparently the worst person in the world.
Yeah, prison for 15 months.
Yeah.
What do you think about the move to criminalise more and more things that happen at protests? For example, the masks, and in other parts of Australia there are protest permits. What do you guys think about the way things are tracking in that regard?
I think state repression is a sign of success. I think if your protest wasn't working, they wouldn't bother trying to repress you. So in one way, it's good because it's a sign of success for us, but it is a direct assault on our fundamental democratic right to protest. Protest is a cornerstone of democracy, and it extends to everyone regardless of their situation. And it won't stop us either. And I noticed just yesterday, the Chief of Police has come out and said he doesn't want permits for protests, and I suspect that's because he knows in Melbourne it just won't wash. Melbourne's got a very strong tradition of protest, and Melburnians will not apply for a permit to protest, not the people that I know anyway.
And do you think that extreme form of action is the only way to get attention, really?
It takes an ecosystem to get the change that we need. Protest is a very important and key ingredient at this stage. I mean, if petitions worked, then we'd have the change that we need, because one of the largest petitions in Australia was to declare a climate and ecological emergency in 2019, 2020. And so, you know, the people have spoken. They do want stronger action on climate, and our government and representatives are not doing what the people want. And so that is when protest is the way to make change. You know, if it was a matter of lobbying, then we would have that sorted. What is a shame is that, you know, these fossil fuel industries, they get direct access to our politicians through lobbyists. Those lobbyists can go into our parliament and talk to politicians anytime that they want. They just pay a little fee and they get access. We don't have that kind of access as the people they're trying to represent. And so, yeah, we do have to make noise because we're not being listened to.
Excellent. Anything else you guys want to mention?
I would just say we need more people on the streets. Things are only going to get worse from here. It's very clear from the peer-reviewed science, and we just need more people on the streets. And we can force the government to take action on this genocide. There are things that Albanese's put out, you know, a lovely statement, but words are really cheap. What he needs to do is he needs to expel the Israeli ambassador. He needs to stop the arms trade with Israel. He can do those things, and he can be a world leader in that, and other nations will follow.
And stop subsidising fossil fuels. You know, we spend over $28,000 a minute of our tax dollars into fossil fuel subsidies. And so, you know, at what point do we stop funding fossil fuels and start funding repair?